everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Sew Free. Today let's get into a really good video, something that everybody's been asking me about, and yes, it is soap. I know I haven't made soap for so long and I apologize, but I've just had so many candles to catch up with. That's been all I've been doing at the moment, is mostly candles and bath bombs. But anyway, today let's get into this really great video, and what we're going to talk about is making a no palm vegan soap. So lots of people have asked me that. So today I'm actually going to be using a few really nice ingredients, and I'll explain as I go along what I'm actually going to be using. So I'm going to be using this beautiful coconut scent from Pure Candle Supplies, and then I've got some some shea butter, cocoa, and of course some beautiful oils and so on. But like I said, I'll explain totally as we go along. And so anyway, let's get going and I'll be on to the next step. All right, everyone, so we are ready to go. So I do have my soap boxes and everything ready, but that's going to be for a little bit later. So the first thing we need to do here is I need to organize my water and my lye, because just over here I do have all the ingredients, which is, my oils, my butters, some powders and things that I'm going to be using, and some liquid oils and fragrances and so on. But we'll get this out the way for the start, because like I said, we need to work on our lye portion. So in here I do have my distilled water. So in this particular recipe, I do have, let me tell you exactly how much it is. So I've got 309 grams of water. Always measure it up in grams, not mils, because you do need to, measure this up, of course, in your weight, because weight measures a little different to mils. It is not exactly the same. So if you want to get an exact measurement, which you should, definitely do these in grams or ounces. No matter what country you're in, just choose the country you're into, whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm in Australia, so we do grams. So like I said, in here I'm going to have 309 grams of distilled water. And then I've actually taken 50 mils off this already, but I'll put the recipe down the bottom and it will make sense. And that's going to be in here. I've got some almond milk. So the almond milk is going to be my portion of liquid as well. So, but in this bit here, and the reason, if you're going to ask me why I'm not just adding the milk into here, it will actually scorch it with the heat of the sodium hydroxide. So that's why I'm not going to add it in there. This is the sodium hydroxide I use as well, in case you want to know. I get this from my local hardware store, and it says very clearly on the bottom, designed for soap making. So you do need to check. Don't just get any drain cleaner, because they have extra additives in it as well. So, and I always find when I've got gloves on, it honestly, it's almost impossible to get the lid. There, I finally did it off, because they've obviously got safety latches, because this is really dangerous. But anyway, so into the water we are going to pour this. Always pour it into the water, not the other way around. And then my lye, I need 174 grams. So I'm just going to, take this out, because I should have done this, shouldn't I? But I didn't weigh it up. So let me just do this. You do have to weigh it up. I usually pour mine just directly into the water. Make sure you get it exactly right down to the gram. It's important. And you can't just roughly measure it. It needs to be exact. Especially if you're in Australia. There's a lot of laws in Australia that really are very strict when it comes to things like this. So we have to be registered with the health department in Australia. So once again, it's important. Also, make sure you have ventilation around, which I have massive big double doors behind me. And you can wear a mask if you want. It's usually preferable. For me, because I'm just doing so much, honestly, I just stand back quite a bit. Never put your face over it, because the steam is extremely strong. And don't just measure this for 1 minute either. Do make sure you're, stirring. Don't just stir it for a really short time. Make sure when you're stirring it, you can't find any more granules on the bottom, and you'll feel it with your spatula. If it feels grainy, it's not done. Because if you leave any little bits of lye, you have to throw the whole soap in the garbage. It's not refixable, and I strongly suggest you just throw it out. You can't sell it like that. It's actually dangerous, because it has live little undissolved bits of lye. So anyway, that's a bit of a lye talk, isn't it? Just in case a lot of you don't know that part of lye. So today we're going to do a heat transfer method, which is really easy. I do this one all the time, and I've pre-measured this out. So in here I do have all my butters. So I've got some coconut butter, some gorgeous cocoa butter, and of course my shea is in here as well. And then what I'm going to be doing is literally just pouring this sodium hydroxide lye mix that we just made straight on top. And what it will actually do, it's so hot, it will literally dissolve everything inside of it. So do make sure you pour everything in there. And obviously I have weighed all of this up. Before I come on camera, I've definitely weighed it up. And you've got to mix it around. Honestly, this bit takes forever. It drives me crazy, but just do it. You can like get like a fork or something and break down your lye. Not your lye. Make sure you break down all the butters and things like that. So if you've got a big chunk, which I do, you can just, you know, break it in smaller portions. I don't worry. I just keep mixing it, honestly, until it's super smooth, and don't add anything else into it. The good thing with doing this process as well is you don't have to wait for the lye to cool and the oils to cool. You literally are just going to mix this until everything has mixed in totally and there's no lumps and bumps, and then we will add the rest of the portion of everything else in. So I'm going to just mix this, but while I'm mixing this, I have some very exciting news to tell everybody. I'm in the process of making something super fun for Australian soap making. In Australia, we're not lucky enough to have, you know, big soaping guilds and things like that they do have in America. So I am in the process of working with a number of suppliers and some really, really great people to create a beautiful conference that will be available, will come out next year. So it will be held in Melbourne. I can't give away the details of the venues or anything like that yet. And tickets will be sold for it. But for the tickets, you'll have to have a sit-down lunch. You'll get to meet lots of other soapers. It'll be close to Melbourne. It won't be in the CBD, but it will be along the Bay Line. But it will be nice and close. Everyone can easily get there as well. And the tickets will be really limited because we won't be able to have a massive venue at the start. But like I said, you get lunch, morning tea, and some really good things. And we will bring in some guest speakers. Everybody will go home with some products from suppliers that are going to assist and sponsor for the day, because I'm sure you can realize it'd be very expensive to run it. And I'm just a little soaper. But I just thought, you know, this is a great way for all of us to meet each other, share and care. And if you're in another country, we will try and do, I'm going to try and do some sort of live, so you'll be able to watch it live. But we will have to sell tickets for live as well, just to cover the costs, because I have to get an IT person in to do all that, because I am not clicked on for that. But I will let you know how that's going to work. But the live will only be available for, you know, our customers overseas that can't make it. But of course, if you want to come from overseas to here, you're welcome. But as I said, I'm just working out the details at the moment. But I'm super excited to be able to do this collaboration with lots of people. So in the background, I've been doing lots of work with lots of different people, getting some suppliers on board and getting some beautiful products for anybody that attends. You'll actually get some products and so on. So it will be so exciting. And of course, you'll get a booklet that we'll make up, which will have some recipes in it as well. We'll do a booklet up on some recipes to get everyone going. And it's really a small business conference, so that you'll actually feel that you can make it in this industry, because that's the hardest thing. You start and you just don't know where to start. You don't know what to buy, and you sort of think, oh no, how am I actually going to make it? You know, you got this dream, but the dream's great, but it's pretty hard without having that knowledge behind you. And I mean, I was lucky, as I've said in other videos, that, you know, I have you know, been in the design industry, and I also have managed many stores, so that really did give me one up on it. But starting with no knowledge is almost impossible, honestly. So you do need kind of that encouragement. And the great thing about these kind of conferences, I've done other conferences before, you know, when I was in different industries, you know, I was a guest at lots of other ones. And the great thing, it's more than networking, you know, all the people you can see, talking to the suppliers straight up. We will have some guest speakers. Suppliers will be guest speakers. We'll try and get, which we will get, insurance companies involved so that you can understand that kind of legal side of it as well. Because I'm not a lawyer, so obviously I don't give any of that kind of advice. But, you know, they're the kind of things that you really want to know. And it's just so worth it, honestly. So, but anyway, I can't give you the prices of the tickets or anything yet because I'm not really sure of that. But we're not here to make money. The tickets will literally just cover the venue and everything else that's got to be paid for with that. So I'm really just doing it to help everybody else out. And for me, I'd love to meet all of you guys too and network with everyone because that's what we're all here for. And it's great to have friends in the industry. You know, a lot of people, a lot of you guys tell me, you know, that your family don't support it or your partners or they just think you're doing a hobby and it's never going to go anywhere. Honestly, I'm pretty much proof that it can go somewhere. As I say, I'm a little person. I'm not a wealthy person. You know, I'm just a standard average person that's worked. My parents were blue collar workers. They weren't wealthy parents either. I just went to a normal state school. So you can do it. But the problem is just having those people behind you and just knowing where to start and, you know, to be slow. But if you're sort of thinking now, look, I really love this industry. I want to do it. Honestly, the one thing I'd tell you is just take it really slow. Don't try and rush in and make thousands of dollars at the start because you get burnt out and then it's just really, really hard. So it's better to be slow, you know, the tortoise wins the race, as they always say. But anyway, I'll get going with this bit here. I think I've explained a little bit. If you have any questions, PM me or just pop something in the comments below. But like I said, once I've organised it, I will talk about it on my YouTube channel. But at the moment, there's a little bit up in the air. The tickets will be selling, while I'm sort of talking about that too, the tickets will actually sell the tickets early. Because I think we're at this stage, we're looking at doing it in March next year. So we'll probably be held on Monday, the 21st of March at this stage. If for any reason COVID stops it going ahead, we will just reschedule it. So you won't lose your money or anything like that. It will definitely be rescheduled. So the particular venue, which is a beautiful, luxurious venue that I've been talking to at the moment, they've promised me that they will, definitely make sure they keep us on board and, just refix the dates, and they'll work with us around COVID as well. So I think we will probably have less than 100 tickets available Australia-wide. So, but like I said, if you're in another country, the US, England, anything, and you want to come over to it, you're welcome. It will be first in, best dressed. But, if you're interested and you want to go on a waiting list, just PM me or just put your name down in the comments, or just, give me a bit of a message. You can do private messages as well. Please don't give out your details or phone numbers or anything in the comments. But yeah, like I said, just message me and we'll go from there. But anyway, I keep mixing this until this bit here is totally melted. It is almost done. And of course, make sure you're wearing gloves because we are using sodium hydroxide, remember? And lots of people ask me about DOS, the DOS spots. The one thing I'm going to tell you too, you need to get some rubbing alcohol or whatever and spray it or disinfect everything first, because that can actually put those dreaded dots. You think, oh, well, I've washed it in the sink with soapy water. Well, that's actually not enough. You need to disinfect everything as well, and your benches and so on. I wipe all my benches down with a coconut wipe, and then I spray them as well with the disinfectant later on. So anyway, hopefully that has sort of explained how I do that sort of side as well. And I always say, just don't put your face too close as well when you're doing this. If it splashes on your arm, yeah, well, it might sting a bit, but you just don't want it on your face and scarring your face. So Definitely don't put your face too close to any lye solution you're mixing. It's really super important as well. But it is slowly mixing. Like I said, it takes time because it's warm. If I had broken this down, it probably would have already mixed in by now, but that's okay. You can also get your blender and zap it a little bit as well if you want to, just to break bits down, but I'm usually patient and I'll keep going. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes once I've mixed all this up, and then we will do the next bit. All right, everyone, so we are ready. So this bit is all good and we've mixed it up. So now I'm going to be adding in my almond milk. Like I said, there was 50 grams in there. And I also do have a tablespoon full of sodium lactate. Couldn't remember. I always forget what that one's called. And that just hardens up your bar and will definitely help you a weenie baby bit as well. So now what I've also got in here is I've got some kaolin clay. So I'm just going to take some of the oil that we're going to be using, and I'm just going to give it a really quick kind of mix up. If you use oil to disperse it a little bit first, it's definitely better for your whole solution. So I just pop all of this in here. It is going to definitely add a color into this as well, but I just think it adds a really nice sort of feel to the bar. And the good thing is too, if you use kaolin clay, it does help your scent to stay a bit longer if you're having issues. So we're going to pour in all of our oils in here. So I have some apricot kernel. I also have some olive oil. Make sure you scrape everything down so you get all the last bits in. Because if you leave 5 grams in there, remember that's 5 grams coming out of your recipe, isn't it? So then that means that you'll be missing something. So all these little tricky bits are the bits that you need to kind of think of as well. You don't need to put them all into all these separate containers like I have. I literally do this just to make it easier for you guys to watch me doing this, of course. So now I have most of my things in here. We're going to just blend this up a little bit. So let me do this bit first. Alright, so we've got all that in there. Now I'm going to be adding in my coconut. So this is my coconut fragrance as well. And it's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance as well. It's really, really good. This hasn't, we don't have much of a trace, but that's fine because I'm going to separate it and we will be blending it again. So I need a small portion because I'm actually going to be adding in this beautiful stuff here. And what that's going to do at the bottom of this bar of soap, it's going to leave like a nice kind of foot scrubber bit at the bottom. So I might we only want a weenie bit of that really, don't we? So I've just got that in there. So let me pop this one aside and we'll add that in, which is 4 tablespoons. I do have of that, which is the pumice powder. If any of you guys have seen that, I actually bought this from N Essentials in Australia. You can buy I'll show you just a little container like this. This comes in a tiny one. It's not very expensive, but it's amazing stuff. So that's what I'm going to add in that. And I do want to add just a weeny tiny bit, only in the bottom of this beautiful light kind of colour. So I'm just going to push a tiny bit in. It's like honestly half a tablespoon, not much at all. That's the thing too, I see lots of people putting heaps and heaps of colorants in. You just have to remember that they will come out in the shower. So, people may carry on. You might have customers say, well, the dye went everywhere, which it will. So, I just sort of say try not to put too much in. So we'll give this a mix again. And you just want to, you want to make sure that you are getting some kind of a trace as well. And I want this one to have more of a trace than the next layer. because we want this to harden up a weeny bit so that we can put in the next bit as well. So you do need to tell people that this bottom bit will be scratchy because, you know, obviously this has the pumice powder in it, so it's like kind of having sand inside it as well, and it gives it that kind of funny sort of texture as well. So it does have a bit of a trace. This coconut fragrance is amazing in soap because it actually stops too much of a trace. So it will slow down everything if you're doing something real fancy. A lot of things like coconut, you know, your vanillas and things like that, they will actually discolor the bar. So this one probably will discolor it a tiny bit, not a lot, just a tiny bit. But that's okay with me. I'm not worried. I don't care if it goes all tan, to be honest. We'll pour it into here. So I'm just going to pour this to be on the bottom layer. Doesn't need to be too much. So I'm just going to, I think that's pretty much as I want on there. I know I'm going to have lots extra left over. Give it a bit of a tap because that one is going to be, like I said, my next one. And I may even do a couple little flower ones to give away as samples. I often give away samples as well. So now we will go to the next bit. I'm not going to put colour in here, but I am going to put some titanium in this bit. So of course I've mixed some here, which mine is just, it's a teaspoon of titanium to a tablespoon of water. You can do it however you like. There's no right or wrong, but that's just how I do mine. And then this is just going to be a lighter kind of natural colour because I want this coconut one to be as natural as I can get. And I'm going to stop myself from putting things on the top because I can't help myself. I will actually put some coconut flakes, but I'm not going to be putting like some, what do you call it? You know, like sprinkles and things like that. I'm going to stop myself and be a good girl and not do that. So I'm going to just sit that there and I will be back in just a little moment because I'm going to wipe this up. And as I've told you all before, I use these coconut wipes to wipe everything up. It's just easy for me in my studio because, as you all know, this is not an actual kitchen. This is a soaping studio, so it doesn't have a stove and things like that in here, but it has everything else I need. This one is pretty good. And you know, look, the only thing with this one that I will say is I can see here that it's not firm enough for me to pour that in. But when you're actually working with, you know, the heat transfer method, things thicken up faster. So that's one thing to really remember. It really honestly thickens up faster. So you have to be a little bit more careful with it. To others, I could pour this straight in if I wanted. It doesn't matter because the main of the pumice on it is at the bottom. And really this is going to be not a soap, but it's more like a foot scrub. So we might even just pour it straight over. If it mixes into the bottom layer, that's fine with me. I really don't mind. And once it thickens up a little bit more, it's definitely really thin at the moment. Then what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just do a bit of a texture and my coconut, a little bit of coconut, just a weeny bit as a decoration. And, you know, and that way it will look really gorgeous. So how about we just go and pour this in here now. And then what I'm going to actually do is once I'm just going to leave it actually after this. So we're going to leave it a little bit because, you know, I want it to get as thick as I can get this at the moment. And like I said, so I can do some kind of like texture-y thing on the top. So I'll fill it up as much as I can fill it up at the moment, which it probably doesn't want me to do much more than that because it's going to kind of go over the edges. So I'm going to let this set a little bit so I can get a spoon and move it all back into the middle. I do have extra left and that's fine. I'm going to just add this bit into here and I will see if I can put this on the top, or like I said, I might actually even make some extras. I always make extra with my mixture as well. This is a 1300 gram mixture, and the reason I do it is because I often make samples to give away. I just really like to give them away. So anyway, I'm just going to grab some little molds that I can see in the background here, and then I will be back. and I'll show you what I'm doing with these ones. So I've got my standard mold. Everyone knows what this mold is. These ones here are a standard one. You see them everywhere. I'll put the Amazon link in for you guys as well, so that you can get these. But these ones are really, really good. When I make them, I sell them in sets of 3 because it's easier for people to buy sets of 3. And it does work out a little cheaper for everybody as well. Of course, when you're getting something, just give it a spray because you do need to make sure it's disinfected as well. And then you just need to give it a little bit of time to think about, you know, everything in it. So now let's just pour, like I said, the next bit in. So any of these, I may sell these in groups of 3, or I might just sell them as samples, or give them away as samples, I mean. So nothing ever goes to waste with my soap. And I need to get this spatula out of the way. Gosh, I'm making a mess, aren't I? Story of my life. My husband always says I'm so messy. I always say I'm a fun messy, you know. Soaping is meant to be fun, but it is a messy business. You guys all know that. And for anyone that hasn't made soap, or you guys just enjoy watching, you know, soap is one of these things that it's a natural occurrence. Like, it is a chemical, you know, it's a chemical reaction, definitely, but it's just one of those things, you know, that sometimes things go amazingly perfect and other times they don't. So you kind of got to work with it. And if you haven't made soap before, you need to scrape as much as you can out, because in these containers, before they're set, they're basically oil. It's just a big fat mix of oils until things start solidifying and doing all their little bits, you know. That's probably not the right word, but anyway. All right, so we've got 3 extra ones here, so they will just be some extra ones that we might just sell. Usually at the markets I sell my extra bits and pieces. So I'm going to let that do that bit, and I'll come back with the next bit. All right, everyone, it's not been long at all, but I can see that it is thickening up a little bit, so I'm just going to push these bits off the edge. I am going to twirl them with my little chopstick thing later. And just buy these from your local shopping centre. In Australia, we call it Woolies. That's kind of just our local supermarket. Well, it's one of them. There's lots of different ones. That's just the company name. But like I said, I'm just going to push this in the middle. And for those of you that are wondering, this, like I said, this is a palm-free, and it's also a vegan one. There is no animal products or any animal byproducts in this at all. I don't use tallow and things like that. There's nothing wrong with using it. It's just something I don't use, and generally where I sell my products to, a lot of people just don't want that. I have heard it makes a really good bar of soap, especially for you guys in the US. I know you use it a lot more than we do in Australia. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people just don't want it where I sort of sell my things to. So you kind of got to go with what the people want, don't you, really? I mean, you know, that's always kind of my motto, is you just got to do what they want. So, but anyway, so that's kind of looking a bit cute, isn't it? So anyway, like I said, it's not ready yet. I will come back to this in a moment, and then of course I will bring you back as well, because you want to see me cut this up. But for me it will be tomorrow, but for you it will only be a few moments. Alright everyone, it has been about 10 minutes time. I know I don't have gloves, but I'm definitely not going to be touching the soap. So all I'm going to be doing is getting this and just doing this on the side, and this colour will just help this pull up and look amazingly pretty. And so that's all I'm doing with that particular bit there, and then I'll just leave that. I won't touch that because, like I said, I don't have gloves on at the moment. And I'll just go through the center of each of these. And when you're doing anything like this is the one thing that I always say, this is just individual. This is how I've done mine. You don't have to, you know, do this kind of swirl like this. You can do it however you like. And then of course I've got this, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a kind of a swirly bit somewhere, all over this bit, which doesn't really matter, this bit here, because I am actually going to be having my little flakes sitting on here. But you know, you can use anything you like. I mean, there's no right or wrong when you're actually doing any of these bits here. But if you kind of want it to, you know, give you those little peaks, you can, usually a spoon or something bigger than the end of a chopstick or the side of a chopstick like this will actually just kind of give those little bits and pieces. And so now all I'm going to do is, I've got these little tiny flakes. All these are coconut flakes. I don't put a lot on because you've got to remember that, you know, people are going to scrub their feet and they're probably going to take these off. So I'm just going to push a few of these in there, and really that's it. And also do remember, anything like this you're putting in, you've got to remember we're going to be cutting this bar, so you don't want this to be a real pest to try and cut through as well. So because you know, you have drag marks and all those kind of horrible things that none of us want, but you know, it's a part of doing any of these things, isn't it? And I always say, if you just put them on the edge like that, people can just wipe them off as well. But anyway, hopefully you think this looks super duper darling, which I do too. And then I will bring you back tomorrow, but to you it will be 5 minutes time, like I said, and I'll show you exactly how this looks, and hopefully you love it. And I hope you guys love the whole thought of the palm free and also a vegan one, because a lot of people do ask me. So like I said, I will pop this down in the recipe, in the description for the recipe, so just take a look at that. Anyway, I'll bring you back tomorrow to see the last and the cut.